This week's special speaker for doctors and for all the women in our community is a noted OBGYN who, in her own words, never tires at the wonder of bringing new life into the world. But she went beyond that by becoming a leader in the field of genetics and extending life for women, not only in Manhattan at Greenstein Medical School, but throughout the country. Her name is Dr. Susan Klugman. She and the keyboardist in Ruach, the extraordinary oncologist Lee Schwartzberg, he told me at dinner, I mean, he's renowned nationally, internationally, and how do people know him here? He says he keeps running into those who say, oh, you're in that band at Temple. But Lee and Sue moved hearts this week, and they save lives every day. Well, this woman, Susan, and I have been friends since we were 17 from our fall semester at Cornell in 1980 when John Lennon was shot by a deranged killer. That was 32 years ago, and we held a vigil all night long. 32 years later, on this very day, we have learned once again how dark it is, with the senseless slaughter of 26 in the Northeast, including 20 children, and the death of the beautiful and brave Officer Lang, who is a member of our sister congregation, First Baptist Broad, led by one who calls me his twin, Pastor Keith Norman. He's tall, dark, and handsome. I am short, pale, and aging. But I shared with Pastor Norman after this tragedy today what I believe to be true not only for his flock, but for all of us whose hearts have been shattered, from the Memphis police force and the Mid-South to our entire nation and the world over today's horrific violence. I believe that while we can give each other comfort, only God and faith can console. If the word God gets in the way for some, only faith can ultimately console. And that's why my prayer all day, I didn't watch much TV, but I've been praying a lot today for Officer Lang's 4 beautiful daughters here in Memphis, and for the parents of the 20 innocent children slain. My prayer has been that they find the strength somehow to carry on, as we all must in time. And it will take time. Everyone is glued to the TV for more information. People are flocking to houses of worship for healing. But for the families of the victims, including that principal of that elementary school, the school psychologist, and the 4 other teachers killed, for them and their families, how can we even talk about healing when their loved ones haven't even been buried yet? I heard someone say, let the healing begin. It can't yet. Now, there are certain houses of worship I know where I'm about to say would get me into big trouble. Temple Israel has always given its rabbis freedom of the pulpit. In case you didn't know, Rabbi Feinschreiber served here from 1915 to 24. He was the first Memphis minister of any faith to speak out against the Ku Klux Klan. To, of course, Rabbi Wax's bold stand during the civil rights movement. I'm not a fence sitter, as some of you know, so I apologize in advance if I offend anyone's personal views here. But in the heart of the Bible, it says in Leviticus, Lifnei iver lo titen michshol, you shall not place a stumbling block before a blind person. And the sages of Judaism looked at this verse in the Bible and they said, this can't be what it means, because who would be so cruel as to purposely cause a blind person to trip and fall? Therefore, they said this law must refer to a different kind of blindness, not just the inability to see something physically. So they came up with a number of examples of blindnesses to which this law would apply. And I want to update it for you. I'm not going to give you the Talmud. I'm going to update the Talmud. For example, you're not allowed to offer a drink to a recovering alcoholic. If you do, you are tempting him or her and making it harder for that person to stay sober. A parent in Judaism is not allowed to provoke, push, hit his or her adult son, because if that parent does, it may drive his son into hitting him, which is something that is forbidden by the Torah. There are a number of other examples of things that you're not allowed to do, and that if you do, you violate the law. But here's my new favorite one. You're not allowed to sell a weapon to a man who is angry, for if you do, he may use it in his wrath. And here's the kicker. And you will be partially responsible for what he does. This is a Jewish precept that I believe it's time for our country to take seriously. For in recent years, we have had case after case of people who were either angry or who were mentally ill, who have been able to obtain weapons and who have used these weapons to kill innocent people. I know the argument, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Not really. People with guns mow down 20 defenseless kids, unless you want to arm the children too. In Florida, a 12-year-old boy named Jacob Larson came across a gun in his family home that, according to what they told the police, the parents, his parents had forgotten they had the gun. Jacob shot himself in the head and is in a coma. And authorities believe that the shooting was accidental. Most of us are familiar with Columbine, when two teenagers sprayed bullets into the bodies of their classmates before turning the guns on themselves. We all remember Columbine, a word that has entered our language as a symbol of insane, purposeless violence. And we will remember today's nightmare forever. But how many of you remember that just 5 months after Columbine, a man with a semi-automatic handgun opened fire on congregants praying in a church in Fort Worth, Texas? 8 people died that day, including the gunman who shot himself. And homicides are not only homicides, like today were shell-shock, but that's only part of the story. While more than 12,000 people are murdered each year with guns, did you know that 30,000 people are killed each year by guns in accidents? 30,000. And then there are the people who are wounded and who don't die. Nearly 70,000 fall into this category, including 48,000 who are criminally attacked. And what about our police force and what they're up against? I am part of a chaplains group with the Memphis Police Department. I'm the rabbi. There aren't that many rabbis in town. There are lots of ministers. And I learned, in case you didn't know, and Director Armstrong shared it today, did you know that since last year, 10 officers have been shot? One of whom, of course, died today. The Second Amendment calls for the freedom to assemble a well-armed militia, not well-armed 21-year-old civilians mowing down a female policeman on Mendenhall Cove and 26 school kids and teachers in Connecticut. When we renamed Linden Street Martin Luther King Jr. Street by the FedEx Forum in April, I was seated, and again, this isn't a political talk. I don't care what party you're a part of. And I don't care what you think of the person I'm about to say, because it's not politics. When I gave the prayer, I sat next to Reverend Jesse Jackson. And we were discussing the Trayvon Martin case. Remember that black teenager killed by Zimmerman? And Reverend Jackson made a great point. I thought he was going to rail on the racism question. You know, was Zimmerman, who was kind of dark-skinned, himself a racist against African Americans or not? He said, but Rabbi, that's not the core issue. I said, what's the core issue? And he said that we take it for granted that neighborhood watch now means a kid patrolling the neighborhood packing heat. And we think nothing of it. We don't even think about it. Oh yeah, of course. He's walking the neighborhood making sure everyone's safe. A kid with a gun. Next month on January 18th, it's our annual Ruach service on King Weekend. That will be, by the way, this is the announcement section too, so I'm not going to do an announcement section after this. We're just going to go on singing. January 18th will be our last Ruach service until March. I have to give these volunteers a little break. Except Rusty, who will be directing our Purim play, which is the story of Esther this year according to the Jersey Boys. Rusty has already dubbed it J-Boys. February 25th, Monday night. But on this only Sabbath during Hanukkah, when we're called to spread light, no matter what darkness surrounds us, may we never grow numb to the violence, which is literally killing our children. And friends, even our policemen and police women. It's not that we need God to stop this. God needs us to stop it. What happened today, in closing, was an assault on Judaism. It was an assault on the goodness Judaism has espoused for 4,000 years. We need good religion. There's a lot of bad religion out there. We need good religion which teaches us to honor our father and mother, not kill them. We need a faith which teaches us to protect children, not traumatize them. And Judaism doesn't say, like some sects, you must believe like me or you're doomed. Judaism says that no religion that condemns others is entitled to admiration, nor one that persecutes others is worthy of respect. Just 2 more sentences. You know, maybe what God cares about most is not that we believe what is right, but that we do what is right no matter what we believe. Maybe God needs us to heal this fractured world. And today we learn that yet again.